Begin, huh? First of all, we'd like to welcome you and all those that are, the millions out there that are watching online, you know. So we begin as always in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Loving God, each day you break into our lives. You give us glimpses of how much you love us in so many small ways that if we're not careful, we miss. So help us to be alert and awake and hungry for that divine break-in that transforms our very lives. We pray that we will be able to communicate to one another love and only love, as you have communicated this to us. We pray this in the name and the power of Jesus, your Son and our brother, forever and ever.
Amen.
Okay. We're going to do some little exercises here today, but first of all, just to get in touch with some feelings, you can just look at some of these, and you can see various feelings, huh? And here's another feeling.
I want it now.
I want my bottle now. What do you mean? What do you mean no parking place outside? That's what I was thinking. There you go. What does that say?
Oh, you are
Want
wrong.
you for the U.S. Army?
That's right, I want you. Uncle Trump wants you, huh? And then what does this one say?
Jealousy, let's see, what does it say?
Someone shut out.
Huh? What did you say?
Someone shut out.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
What's your observation on this?
Well, sadness for one, maybe envy.
Happiness for the couple.
Yeah,
Couple are
happiness.
very pleased with each other, but that third person.
We've got conflicting messages here in this picture. We've got a couple certainly connecting and exchanging friendly gestures, and another one feeling left out and wish I were part of it.
Or we don't know if the man and the woman with the lighter blonde hair were together, and maybe that's why she looks jealous or.
Okay, but now my question was,
Oh.
what are you observing? And what you're doing is you're going from observation to inference.
Okay.
I see joy.
Observation to judgment.
Uh-huh.
If you just go by pure observation and not judgment, then now what do you see?
Friendliness.
Joy.
Two people
Two people.
clinking glasses.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
The
okay, I
third
gotcha.
looking upon.
That's
True.
all you can see. You can't
Oh.
see joy, sadness, jealousy, nothing.
Oh.
We infer that.
Mhm.
And that's what we do often. We go from an observation to a judgment so quickly, with it just makes your mind flash, so quick. Okay. And then when I show that observation, did you find yourself immediately jumping to a
Yeah.
judgment? Like, who are those kooks or something like that, right?
Yeah.
That's normal. And
Happiness.
Let's see.
Kissing.
Two people, man and woman by the water, in close proximity to one another.
Oh, you shouldn't even say kissing. Kissing's a descriptive.
Yeah, they're blocking the sunlight.
they're pretty close, I don't know. And this is
Crowded, right?
Looks like a family on a motorcycle?
This looks like the Dominican Republic, because this is where
Oh.
they ride down there. Families of 4 and 5 on a motorcycle, you know.
Wow.
So in observation, where you see 1, 2, 5 people on a motorbike, a judgment would be,
Is there a
wow,
family?
that's too dangerous. They shouldn't do that, right?
Right.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Man modeling a jacket.
Oh, man
Could
with
be.
a jacket, man with a jacket
Could
on.
be.
Two actors.
Couple of tough
Prison
dudes.
break. That's what it is.
All right.
Oh,
Basically, you just say, 2 men, and they have looks on their faces that express some feeling. That's about all you can really say, in terms of observation. Okay, here's this one. It says, in theory, you should say something like, I'm too angry, now I'll be back in 3 hours.
In theory, that's
In
good.
theory, right. Okay. Just those pictures that I used to use when I was teaching this many years ago. Okay.
Well, notice we got better as we went along.
Well, yeah, with a little coaching.
We are learning.
Yeah,
Coaching.
yeah, right.
All right, and the coaching is fine. Okay. Okay, now, throughout our lives, we attempt to learn many forms of life-alienating communication that lead us to speak and behave in ways that injure ourselves and others. One form of life-alienating communication is the use of moralistic judgments that imply wrongness or badness on the part of those who don't act in harmony with our values. Okay, does that resonate? Huh? We do that, huh? You're right, you're wrong, you're a sinner, you know, whatever, right? Now, another form of such communication is the use of comparisons that can block compassion for others and ourselves. Comparing. Rohr says that let's see, comparisons and he said something, women are more likely to compare and men are more likely to compete. And then this is just, you know, that's his observation, okay. Life-alienating communication also obscures our awareness that we are each responsible for our own thoughts, feelings, and actions, period. We're responsible. So to say to someone else, you make me angry, you make me happy, you make me whatever, is not responsible communication. Communicating our desires in the form of demands is yet another characteristic of language that blocks compassion. Okay, so much of this work of Marshall Rosenberg is tied in with compassion and responsibility. We just handed out some sheets for you there that speak of one of the 4 components of nonviolent communication. You have that, right? Mm-hmm. All right, who's going to read the first one?
Okay. Nick.
Nick?
First one, yeah, this one. Talking about the 4 components?
Yeah. Mhm.
Alright, observations are distinct from evaluations, judgments, labels, analysis, interpretations. Make neutral statements of what you actually, objectively see or hear. Objective facts without subjective filters.
Okay, that's the exercise I just gave you, where you can just give me the facts, ma'am, just only the facts, like Joe Friday, right?
Would
Yeah.
it be accurate to say that an observation is a result of the use of our senses? We
Okay.
see, we hear.
Yeah, that's a good one. I agree with that. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Are there other ways that we observe, other words?
Well, we can feel.
Yeah,
Right,
well, that's a
that's
sense.
A sense. Any senses of
Yeah,
any of the 5 senses, yeah.
okay.
Those are observations are dependent upon our senses. But then your judgment comes in when you go beyond that and you make some kind of a comparison or a moralistic judgment. Okay, number 2, who's reading that?
I can read it.
Okay.
Okay. Feelings are distinct from perceptions, victim verbs. Express pure emotions and or body sensations rather than what you think, perceive someone is doing to you. Victim verbs are thoughts disguised as feelings that often contain blame, such as I feel insulted, attacked, blamed, unappreciated, disrespected, ignored, or misunderstood.
Okay, this is really good here because a lot of times we feel, as long as I use the word feel, I'm using a feeling. I'm in touch with my feelings, right? No. Some words imply blame. I feel unappreciated. I feel disrespected. I feel ignorant. I feel ignored. I feel misunderstood. Can you say those without, as just a pure observation or a feeling? Is that a pure feeling? What's the feeling behind when you're saying I feel insulted? What's the feeling behind that?
Sadness.
Could be sadness,
Anger.
anger,
Yeah.
frustration. Those are all feeling words. These are not feeling words. These are judgment. These are accusations. Does that make sense? Are we always aware of that? No. Okay. Number 3, who's reading that?
I will.
Okay.
Needs, values are distinct from strategies, blame. Should, thinking. Needs, values are considered to be our universal life energy, that which motivates and sustains us. They are intangible, without reference to specific people, actions, or things.
Okay. Now, last time we had a little discussion of the difference between needs and wants, right? Okay. After reflecting and studying about this since then, what I have come up with is that Rosenberg has developed his theories here of communication and is putting needs in there as more associated with values, and then the wants come in when we get to the request. Okay, so he's making a distinction there. But he also says that needs are not as frequent. How did he put it? Jim, what's his name? He was here last week? Yeah. Jim Rademacher wrote me an email saying, there are a lot more things that I want, but fewer and more basic things that I need. Okay, so we want a lot of things, but we don't always need a lot of things, right? And sometimes we confuse that. And this is exactly what people in the commercial world want. They want us to think we need a new car, we need to do this, we need to do that, so we'll go out and buy it. You know, we think, and we convince ourselves, oh, I really need that, right? Well, it's not. Why don't we just call it a want? I'd like to have that. But we justify something. Well, I really needed that. I needed that new mink coat. I really did. You know? No, for some reason, we can feel a little more comfortable saying, I got it because I needed it, rather than because I wanted it. Does that make sense? But we're not always clear about that in our own mind. We like to make everything a need when a lot of times, well, for one thing, we don't always feel free to express our wants. You can say, I really need a drink right now, right? Be nice, okay, Irene, you got any drinks back? Rather than I want a drink. And so if someone says to you, oh wow, I've had a really tough day, I need a drink. That's one thing. Or I've had a really tough day, I really want a drink. what would you respond more quickly to?
What, respond in what way, positive or negative?
Yeah, whatever. Someone says that, will you be more willing to give someone a drink because they want it or because they need it?
Well, I think you're pointing out something for me, how I hear things, because right now, I kind of hear them both ways, so I was going to raise my hand and say, define the difference between a want and a need.
Okay.
Because I interchange them so much. When I hear I need a drink, well, if you need it, you want it, and if you want it, you need it.
No, not necessarily.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm just saying
Yeah.
that way because that's
yeah,
how I
know.
hear it.
I'm asking you to hear these words
Yeah,
in a different way,
Mhm,
okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I believed that the person saying they needed a drink really only wanted a drink, I'd respond more positively if they would just call it what it was. I
Okay.
want a drink. If this is some, deprived, malnourished, dehydrated
Right,
person that says,
okay.
that's, obviously it's a different story when they say I need a drink, they
Yeah.
mean very well. But for the most part, if they're exaggerating,
Mhm.
using exaggerations in their requests, that would put me off.
Okay, so there's only one item here on the shelf, it's on sale, and two people come up. And one of them grabs it and says, oh, I really want that. I've been wanting this all my life. The other person says, well, I need that. What's the stronger case?
Need. The need.
The need. You see, there's something about need has a compulsive quality to it. It's like I must have it. I must have it. I've got to have it.
When I hear someone say that they need a drink, to be honest with you, I would be less likely to get them a drink than if they wanted a drink.
Because you think maybe they're alcoholic, right?
Which is a judgment or not?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was just gonna
good point.
Well,
Even in your
An assumption,
example,
at
if that person said I really need this, maybe they think they need it to complete a collection.
right.
And they already have 19, they're
Right.
just like it, but they really wanted 20.
But they're not being honest
They don't need it.
because they don't really need it. They really want it.
Right,
But
right.
we make the need because we want to intensify our.
So are we intensifying it for the other person? Like when I come home from a frustrating day and I say,
Yeah.
I need a drink, am I intensifying it for my partner or am I intensifying it in my own head? Need or
Only
want?
you could know that.
Oh, okay.
See, only you as the giver of that message can know what's behind it.
If you think about it.
If you think about it, yeah, right, yeah. But we don't usually think about that.
Yeah, that's-
What I'm trying to do is raise our awareness to words that we use without thinking the difference.
Well, I think your point here too is if somebody said, hey, I really need something or other,
Yeah,
there's a tendency to want to accommodate them and,
Yeah.
well, if you really need it, or,
Right.
regardless of whether you really truly need it or you just really want it, I see this is high on your list, I'll do what I can to help you out, by and large.
yeah, right, yeah.
But through your own mind, do you also ask yourself, wonder why they need that?
Yeah, sure, yeah. I might have lots of questions.
Yeah, right, all right, all right.
Yeah, but take it out of the drink, okay?
Yeah.
I really need to wash my car.
Do you?
Why?
Who wants to wash their car? See?
But
Or I really
why
need
would
to
you
wash
say-
the dishes
Why would you say you need to?
because it's dirty.
So?
That doesn't call out to me as a need.
See, well, I'm just pointing this out as far as
Yeah.
the confusion in the brain, that
Yeah.
because my car is dirty, I need to. And whether or not I want, it's kind of like, come on, you have to help me with the dishes. Why would I want to help you with the dishes?
See, what you just said was, you have to help me
Well,
with it.
yeah.
That's the have to. That's the,
Well,
That's
I
the
need
lack-
help with the dishes,
Okay.
will you, would you
Now,
help?
see, that's different than saying, hey, listen, I've got a lot of different dishes here. You have to help me, you gotta help me,
Yeah,
That's so
okay.
different than saying, we've got a lot of dishes here. I would really appreciate your help. I just don't know if I can do it all by myself.
Yeah,
You
okay.
know, okay, so it's a matter of being honest.
So does that mean Larry has to get my car washed?
I do help with the dishes. I
No,
do.
no, 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 I said I was back to the car wash.
Yeah, right, no, each one is different, but I would be more restrictive using the word need than want. I don't believe I would ever say, I need to wash my car. I would say, I would like to wash my car. It's not a need on the level of urgency, unless you couldn't see out the window, okay, and it's so dirty. But, you know, it's just everybody's got their own interpretation of it, but let's don't get bogged down on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do number 4. Who's gonna read that?
I will.
Okay.
Requests are distinct from demands that use fear, guilt, shame, manipulation, or reward. Requests are made in the present and are doable, concrete, specific, and affirmative actions a do want rather than a don't want.
Okay. The old thing about, oh, hey, would you mind getting a cup of coffee? And I don't want it black. Does that say anything about sugar? No. I mean, it's not specific. You know, you depend on the other person to guess. Well, I guess they want sugar. They didn't say, you know. I don't like the way you're doing this. That's a not want. But it's not saying, how would you like it differently? You're pinning, without specifying, you're putting the burden on the other person to guess, how would you like it differently?
Right.
And that ends up in a lot of problems, okay? Okay, so a request is different than a demand. But if you make the request in your mind, thinking that it's really a demand, I'm just asking you, but I'm really demanding it, you're going to feel very differently in regard to the response that's given to you. If you're thinking in terms of, you know, you really have to get my car washed, but all you said was, hey, do you think you'd like to get my car washed? See, that's kind of like a request. But if in the back of your mind you're saying, by damn, you better get that car washed. And if the other person says, well, wash it yourself, you know? And if it was just a simple request, well, okay, I'll do it tomorrow, whatever, you know, okay. But if it was behind there a demand, like you expected them to do that, you're going to feel differently in regard to how they respond. It's all about clarifying and being specific. 2 types of requests. Connection requests for reflection of what you just expressed to see. If what you said came across to your listener. For example, would you tell me what you're hearing me say? Or how do you feel about what I've just said? You're trying to connect with someone, okay? Then another action solution request. Would you bring the groceries in from the car? I could use some help. Okay, that's an action solution. When making a request, it's important to be willing to hear a no. Ask yourself before you make a request if you're attached to a particular outcome or action, because if you are, your request will likely be a demand or expectation in disguise. Health and safety issues are the exception, of course. But it's poor communication when we are not aware of how we're asking something, because we can be manipulating people, you know, by getting it across that, oh, I've just got to get this done now, I really do. And down deep, it's just like you really want it, but you increase the expectation and the urgency by, I've just got to have it now. You know, I mean, I had someone at the Columbia Center last Thursday come up and she wanted a pair of shoes. Well, we have a policy, you get footwear every 4 months or whatever. And on the sheet, she had just gotten a pair of boots last month. So I tried to explain to her, well, this policy we have here is that you get footwear every 4 months. Okay. Oh, she started crying. Oh, but I can't wear those boots, they're too hot, you know. So I asked Don Walsh, the supervisor. He said, that's the policy. So I conveyed that to her, that's our policy here. I'm sorry. What else do you need? You know. She eventually got over her tears, and she was, I think, some people like to use tears to manipulate. I mean, I could be wrong here, but I know people that have done that to me, okay? And it's almost like bringing out the nuclear bomb when you don't need it.
Really, that similar, okay.
Well, it's not a strategy often used by men, but we've got our other.
I know, we've got our
Other ways,
yeah.
yeah. It is a strategy when you're pulled over for speeding, I will say that.
That joke reminds me of the guy who was pulled over by the officer for speeding, and it was a priest, and he had just been celebrating mass, and so the officer pulled him over and said, "Well, you are going 20 miles over the speed limit. I'm going to have to give you a big fine." "Really? Oh, please." He says, "You know, I really was just going 10 miles over." "Nope, I got it clocked, you were going 20. You're going to get a big fine." So he said, "But officer, you know, I'm just a poor preacher." He said, "I know, I've heard you." So,
Here's a $20 fine.
okay, all right. So, examples of the four components, you have those. These can be used in any sequence. Each example below shows a different order of the OFNR components. I'm not sure. Observation, feeling, needs, and request. Okay. Observation. Now here you say you won't have the report complete till next week. Feeling. And I'm feeling some frustration and concern. Needs. Values. It's important to me that our team is timely on reports so the production is sufficient. Request. Would you tell me what's preventing you from completing the report and what our team might do to get it finished by 4 p.m. tomorrow? Okay. Those are four components of good communication. Observation, feeling, need, and request. Now, a lot of times in communication we fall short because we eliminate one or the other. We want to think, well, we don't. They think they know how I feel, or they should know that I'm working tomorrow. I can't do this or whatever. You know. So we leave it out. Feeling. Here's this next one. Starts out. I feel irritated. Observation. When I see you return my car with an empty gas tank. Request. Would you fill it up by tonight? Needs, values. I want to trust that I can get to work tomorrow. Okay, very specific, okay? Request, would you be willing to take me to the airport this afternoon? Feeling, I'm feeling somewhat anxious. Needs, and I could use some support and help. Observation, my car hasn't been running well this week and I can't get it fixed until after my trip. Okay, now see, those are in different order. And observation is, that could start out saying, my car hadn't been running until this well, and I can't get it fixed until after my next trip. Would you be willing to take me to the airport? Because I'm feeling somewhat anxious, and I really could use some help. You know, it's not too important where you put but you need to get them in there. The next one, they start with needs and values here. Because sharing responsibility is important to me and our family. Request, would you set the table when I get dinner ready? Feeling, I'm happy. Observation, seeing what you've already done this week to help out at home. You feel that you fed the dog, brought your dirty clothes to the laundry, and made your bed each morning. Wow. Okay, how would you keep those in that order, or would you switch them around? If you would switch them around, how would you do it?
I think I would do that. I'm happy and sing, and I actually do this because I have an 18-year-old grandson that lives with me, and I'm really careful. I do the real good stuff, and he's smiling big, and then I smile and everything, and then I go to, would you set the table, or would you, what I want him to do.
Okay. I mean.
But I forgot the needs and values after that. Before I ask the last thing I would do is ask what I want.
Okay. Yeah.
I
Anybody else?
think I do, would you set the table at request and then do the needs and values? And then follow it with a feeling and observation.
Okay. You know, in some of these cases, it's a little too much. You don't really need to go into, we're sharing values here and responsibility. I'd rather you think, I'm really feeling sort of pressed for time. Would you mind helping me set the table? I mean, that gets your feeling and you're going in there and.
Especially if it's a close couple.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
I'm
yeah.
thinking of a marital relationship, you might
Yeah.
drop the,
You could,
know,
yeah.
sharing responsibility is really important in our family, you know?
Yeah, right, yeah, right. It's-
We know
Yeah.
that.
Sometimes it comes across a little forced, doesn't it?
But you can still express your needs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, right.
not in a value to it. It's important to me to have some help.
Okay, I'm hearing you say you would like to go out dancing tonight, and I'm feeling so tired and overwhelmed. I'd rather take some downtime and rest. How do you feel hearing me say this? Does that sound good, like good communication? Does that sound like you keep in that order?
You know, it sounds fine to me. That what strikes me is that if I were talking to my wife about it, and I'm putting this in that
Right,
context
of course,
a
yeah.
lot here in this
Yeah.
but I would intend to put in the request about how do you feel hearing me say this, although there's value to it. It's just not
Well,
something.
you could pick up the cues. If someone was really wanting to go dancing, they just had their heart set on it all day long, and then they say, and you say, "Hey, I really want to go dancing. How about it? Let's go." And you express your feeling. Well, you know, I'm so tired. I really am. I tell you what, I'd really like to stay home tonight and rest. How do you hear me say it? Or I would, instead of that, how would you hear me? I'd say, would you mind? You know, would that be okay with you? You know, you check it out. You've got your feeling it. One of the things that frequently happens when people ask us to do something is we interpret it as a demand. So someone calls up, say, "Oh, listen, the movie I've been wanting to see all year is finally coming in town. I really want to go. Let's go." And they expect you to say, "Oh, well, yeah, sure. What time?" You know. So there you are. You're trying to get in touch with. Do you want to go, or do you feel like you quote have to go because they called you, right? Well, what sometimes we do is we say, "Oh, you know what? I don't really want to go to that movie. I've got to stay home and sort out my sock drawer."
Oops.
I have to. See, what you've done, now a lot of times you say, "Oh, you know, thanks for calling, but I can't. I've got to go home and cut that grass, you know." Well, so, but really the grass was not the issue. You just didn't want to go to the movie, okay? But you say, "I can't," which is a lie, because unless you were sitting on a chair bound with a chain and couldn't move, the word is not true. You can, but you choose not to, okay? But we say, "I can't," to excuse ourselves from responsibility. We say, "I can't," and usually that's followed by another lie, "because I have to," etc. Okay? Because we feel like, oh, we've got to please everybody. They want I don't want them to feel bad because I'm not going with them so well. But people know when you're making up an excuse. You know, come on. But what happens if we could say, "You know, thank you so much for calling. That was very thoughtful of you. But you know what, can I tell you something? I'd really kind of like to stay home tonight. I have been out 4 nights this week already, and I'm just looking forward to a night at home. I hope you can find someone else, and thank you so much for calling." You've expressed your feeling, your want. You've been gracious, but you've been true to yourself. Does this ring true to anybody?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Because if you are not being true to yourself, authentic, you don't feel good about yourself. And then you suspect anyone else Well, they're playing the same trick I do. They really could. They don't want to tell me they don't want to go, you know? So it's about honesty. Okay. Okay, by the way, I ordered some of these things
Oh, yay.
called Communication Basics, an overview of nonviolent communication. And I got 5 of them here. And
I really need that.
you really need
I
I'm
really
just gonna
want
get
that.
right out front here.
I'm only going to
I
give
need
them
it
to
more than
people
all
that-
of you.
I'm only going to give them to people that want it, not need it.
Ah, there you go.
Okay, but
Okay, now let me ask him, how are you feeling when you hear him say
you're right,
that?
you're right.
Yeah, I'm really left out. I'm frustrated to no end.
Left out. Okay, left out is a judgment word.
Okay.
Frustrated is a feeling.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I'm paying $5 for these, so you may choose to pick up one for $5. All right. Okay.
You should have made it 6.
Or five. Or
$5 for one.
$5 for
Wow.
one, wow.
Yeah, right. They're not cheap.
I guess not.
And then
Okay.
you take them with you and you whip it out when you need it.
That's
Yeah.
right.
That's right.
I'll pay
Hold on a
$6.
second,
Time
I'm
out.
$6.
See,
Six
I
going,
got it
6
here.
going.
they made it to fit in your back pocket. See, it fits right there.
You can just say, just a second.
Excuse me.
The police officer.
Let me check out my communication basics if you don't mind. All right.
Yeah, Father, are those similar to or short, a summary of the basic book, the NDC book?
Exactly. They
You
kind of
have the
some.
book, so I don't
Yeah.
need one.
Okay, this. Can you get?
I want one, but I
It's kind of hard to carry the book around with you, all right? But these give a concise little synopsis. Okay.
Are we able to preview them before we give you a
You
$5?
certainly may after the class.
Okay.
All right.
That's good, so I'm not going
I
through
really
them.
don't like competition. Okay. Okay. All right. Observing without evaluating. Ways to distinguish between observations that are separate from those that have evaluation mixed in. Use the verb to be without indication that the evaluator takes responsibility for the evaluation. Okay.
Page 2.
Can you get an example?
All right. That's, if you have the book, it's on page 30. If you have the book. If you don't, I have a copy that I will use. All right. So. Use of the verb to be. Example, you are too generous. Okay? Any mention of the word to be, you, I am, you are, he is. That's forms of conjugating the verb I am, you are, he is. If you study Latin, you know ego, so that, you know, okay. I'm used to languages through conjugation, sorry. So if any word, anytime you use the word are, or you are, he is, I am, you're on thin ice.
Yeah.
Because you are equating. I am lazy. Okay, now that's a slap in your face. That is a judgment against you. And you are challenged to find another way to communicate that. I'll start and say, hey, you are lazy. You know, you are lazy. That's a judgment, that's a label that immediately evokes a response of anger. Why? Because it's a denial of your rights. No one has the right to call you lazy or to label you. That gives you a ticket to get angry. Whatever label is. You're stupid, you're angry, you're ugly, whatever it is. You know, ugly, well, that might be different. You know. Like the person that went into the doctor and said, hey, doctor, I need an evaluation. He says, okay, you're ugly. and she says, I want a second opinion. But it's this business of, you see the R, if you ever use the word, a form of to be, which is I am, you are, he is, or they are, that means equals. That's why labels are judgments. They're not observations. And then it is communication that is weak because it is not complete. It only expresses a judgment. It doesn't say how you feel and what you want. See, the thing, if you want to take a temperature of somebody, like a thermometer, you deal with feelings and wants and needs, if you want to put it. And I still have, I like Rosenberg's theories back in the 70s when I studied with him. But he's evolved in such a way, okay, fine. But, okay, use of verbs with evaluative connotations. Doug procrastinates. Okay, now example of observation separate from evaluation. Doug only studies for exams the night before. See, that's not the same thing as Doug procrastinates. We don't want to hear that we're procrastinator. But if someone says, 3 out of the last 4 nights, you have put off your studies until you were too late and you were too tired to study. Okay? That's evaluative in the sense that it's an observation. Implications that one's inferences about another person's thoughts, feelings, intentions, or desires are the only ones possible. You won't get her work in. She won't get her work in. The way to say it, I don't think she'll get her work in, or she said I won't get my work in. It's all about trying to take responsibility. Confusion of prediction with certainty. Okay, you can, if you have, anybody have this book? If you don't, I recommend this. It's Nonviolent Communication, a Language of Life. And all these things are spelled out in here. And if we had a lot more time, I would go into all of them. Okay. Wow. Okay, now look at these. I want you to tell me, it's on page 34 in this book. To determine your proficiency at discerning between observations and evaluations, complete the following exercise. Circle the number in front of any statement that is an observation only, with no evaluation mixed in. So you take your pencils and please mark the, circle the number in front of any statement that is an observation only, with no evaluation. If you so choose, you don't have to. Ready to go? Okay. Number 1, John was angry with me yesterday for no reason. Was that with an observation or without?
The for no reason is kind of a,
Evaluation.
yeah.
How do you know he was angry with you?
You're also,
For no reason is an evaluation.
yeah, plus you're, the person who said that is assuming that they know how John was feeling.
Mm-hmm.
You know, John might have been upset about something else, not with them,
So it's not just an observation, that's the point.
Right.
Number 2, yesterday evening Nancy bit her fingernails while watching television. Just observation, right. 3, Sam didn't ask for my opinion during the meeting. Just observation. My father's a good man.
Judgment.
Judgment, right.
Good.
Janice works too much.
Too much.
Judgment. Henry's aggressive.
Is
Judgment.
Yeah, there you go, the is, right, okay. That's number, yeah, okay, number 7, Pam was first in line every day this week.
Observation.
Observation. My son often doesn't brush his teeth.
Observation.
I don't know about
It's
that.
good, often.
that often?
Yeah, what does
is
often mean?
Yeah.
Okay, Marshall writes, if you circle this number, we're not in agreement. I consider often to be an evaluation. An observation without evaluation might be, twice this week, my son didn't brush his teeth before going to bed.
Yeah.
With specific, see?
Yeah.
Number 9, Luke told me I didn't look good in yellow.
That's the interpretation.
Okay, all right.
Wait, is that?
Well, and it's evaluation to look good.
No, it's an observation because it's just a report.
Yeah.
It's not saying it's good or bad.
Oh,
whatever, you
okay.
understand?
No, but it's not he's judging it.
Yeah.
I don't see a judgment.
Luke told me I didn't look good in yellow.
See it.
That's just like saying, that wall is green.
No.
See, it's
If
interesting
Luke
that
said
the
your
women see
shirt
it as
is
evaluation.
yellow,
Pardon?
It's interesting that the women see it as evaluation.
Okay, tell me
Yeah.
why.
if your shirt is yellow,
Mhm.
then I could tell you, I see your shirt is yellow.
Yeah.
I'd prefer that you didn't wear yellow.
Okay.
It offends me. Oh no, that's the wrong word.
Right.
But it really feels to me like that this look good is a
See, that's not the issue.
Button.
The issue is, Luke told me. He told me the moon was full of cheese.
Okay.
Is there an
Yeah, he
implied-
did tell you, so.
He
It's a
told
report.
you.
It's a
Yeah.
report.
That's a fact.
It's not saying you do or do
oh, I
not look
got you.
good in
I
yellow.
got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I read
It's
it
just a
differently,
pure
too.
observation. I'm reporting back
Yeah.
what he told me.
Yep.
All right?
Mm-hmm.
Last one, my aunt complains when I talk with her.
Hmm.
Is that observation or agreement?
Judgment.
Judgment.
At that
Why?
point.
Complain
That's your opinion.
is a kind of a put down.
That may be the way she just is.
Speak up.
I said, to you, she might be complaining, but to somebody else, she might not be complaining. So
Yeah.
it's like your opinion or your
Mhm.
perception.
Complaints,
Yeah.
evaluation.
And she may not really be complaining.
Exactly.
Complain, Marshall says, is an evaluation, that particular word. An observation without evaluation might be, my aunt called me 3 times this week, and each time talked about people who treated her in ways she didn't like. Okay. You're being specific. Of course, more obvious would have said, my aunt is a complainer. That would have been strict observation. Strict judgment. Right. Okay. Is that kind of becoming clear? Is it, does it make any sense? Does it seem practical to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Feeling versus non-feeling. Okay, in general, feelings are not being clearly expressed when the word feel is followed by words such as that. Like, as if. For example, I feel that you should know better. That's not a feeling, that's a thought. You can substitute the word I think instead of I feel that. It looks like a, oh my gosh, you're saying feel, it must be a feeling. No, it's not. It fools you. I feel like a failure. You know? That is not a feeling. That's a judgment. I feel as if I'm living with a wall. Now once again, that as if
Nothing got-
changes it, okay? As if. It's not saying you want the person to change, you want them to open up. It's a judgment, all right? Does that make sense? Any agreement, disagreement? All right. The pronouns I, you, he, she, they, it. We in Latin we used to say that for the third person singular it would be he, she, it. He, she, it, right? Okay.
We love that.
Okay. The pronouns I, you, he, she, they, it. I feel I am constantly on call. I feel it is useless. Okay. These are not feelings. These are judgments. How would you change I feel I'm constantly on call? How could you put a feeling in there so that it's not a judgment?
It seems like I'm constantly on call.
Well, that would be against the first rule there.
Oh,
Like I
yeah.
feel frustrated that I am constantly on call.
Okay, that's close.
I've
You get the
observed,
frustration in there, which is a feeling, but then you changed it with a word that was an
Oh,
adverb.
I feel frustrated with myself. I am constantly on call.
Okay, no, the word that leaps out is the word constantly, because that is,
Oh.
that
it's
doesn't
like
lend
always and never.
Oh, always.
constantly, always, never.
Uh-huh.
These are mortal sins in communication.
I am on call 7 days a week.
I feel frustrated because I am on call 7 days a week. Perfectly good
Very
communication,
good.
right?
Unless you're the mom talking about being on call to the kids.
All right.
That's frustration.
Yeah, right. Names or nouns referring to people. I feel Amy has been pretty responsible. Okay, is that a feeling?
Yeah.
Is it?
No, it's an
No.
observation.
I feel Amy. You could put I feel that Amy. See, whenever you can put the word that in there, you've got a thought and a judgment, not a feeling. It's kind of subtle, but can you see the difference?
Okay. So
I-
if you could add that.
And whenever you put that to it, it makes it a judgment, a thought. I feel my boss is being manipulative. Well, it's two mortal sins. I feel my boss, there's the pronoun there, okay, is being manipulative. Put the manipulative judgment in there. How could you change that and so it'd be good communication?
Put that in there as well, like I feel that my boss.
I really prefer direct communication, clear communication. Because any manipulative is something somebody else does.
It's an accusation,
Yeah.
a judgment. But see, what we're looking for is a feeling and a want, not just,
Oh, okay.
you know,
If you knew the boss's name, could you just say, Joe is manipulative?
that's
And
a
take a
judgment,
feel-
if you want to make
Oh.
a judgment, but you're going to be,
Yeah.
you're going to pay the price for
Yeah,
that.
that's right, I forgot.
Yeah.
Now, my major weakness is I don't have a lot of value words. Or, value words. So for me, it would be a value, a good value, which is again, I don't know how to say the value word for preferring direct communication or feeling. I don't know.
I think we brought up,
I get what you're saying. I mean, you could say like I feel any of these. I feel afraid. My boss tells somebody one thing and then does the other. I don't know. Is that too vague still? Probably.
I'm frustrated
I
because
know.
I
I get what
feel
you're trying to
see,
get out
let's
of
see,
the
you
word.
put that in there. I feel afraid that,
Oh, I feel afraid my boss.
no, you need to get a pure feeling there. I'm feeling anxious
Okay.
because I see my boss talking 3 out of 4 times to Joe and is not talking to me. Okay, you got a specific in there,
Oh,
you're not saying
so-
always. You got your frustration, your feeling. You see, it's not easy. This is.
Especially for something like manipulative, that's hard to say.
Well,
It takes a sentence rather than.
yeah, a lot of times it takes more. This is lazy communication
Yeah.
if you use label words. It's so easy. Hey, you're just stupid. That's all, Well, if you really want to get communication and not receive anger from them, you can get in touch with your feelings and wants. I'm feeling frustrated that you're not paying attention in my class right now because I really want you to learn. Okay? That's much better than saying you're stupid.
I think it is.
You know? You express your feeling, your value, that you want them to improve in their education instead of just labeling stupid, you know, see? Stupid implies that you're feeling a certain way and you want something, but you're not using those terms. And the other person just hears that one word and immediately gets angry.
Or hurt, or, I mean, you know, the comics will joke, they thought their name was stupid for the first 5 years of their life, you know, because they were called stupid.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, I question how one could build up a good self-esteem being called stupid
Yeah, right,
for
yeah.
5 years,
Trust
you
me.
know? Okay. All right. Oh, Kelly got a lot of nice little
Yeah,
emojis in there.
emoji queen.
Oh, look at that.
Oh,
Distinguish between words that express feelings and those that describe what we think we are. Okay, this is page 42. Okay. All right. I feel inadequate as a guitar player.
Judgment.
That's a judgment.
Is there any feeling expressed there? None. It's a judgment, it's an evaluation. You're judging yourself. I feel inadequate. There's no feeling. You see, it looks like a feeling. I feel inadequate. But it's not a feeling, it's a judgment against yourself. How could you put it? An expression of actual feeling might be, I feel disappointed in myself as a guitar player. All right, there's a feeling, okay? I feel impatient with myself as a guitar player. I feel frustrated with myself as a guitar player. Those are all, you know, communication words that express how you're feeling and not judging yourself. You see that difference? It's subtle, isn't it? Okay. Distinguish between words that describe what we think others are doing around us and words that describe actual feelings. Okay, I feel important to the people with whom I work. I feel unimportant to the people with whom I work. I feel misunderstood. I feel ignored. In life, do we find these kind of misinterpretations of the word feeling?
Yeah.
When you use the word feel
I do that all the time.
all the time.
All the time. It's very difficult for me, not all the time,
Okay.
almost all the time. It's very difficult for me to think of a real feeling word to substitute in for one of these words that's really what somebody else did. Like, they attacked me, they betrayed me, they boxed me, and they bullied me, they
Right.
cheated me. Blah. You can stick they in front of it.
Right. But each one of those is a judgmental word. And I guess what I'm saying is enrich yourself with feeling words that are true feeling words and not judgments. And have your antennas up so that you can recognize that you are not giving a feeling, you're giving a judgment. As long as you're responsible and saying, I am taking ownership, I am calling you, I am feeling abandoned, and you take responsibility for that, okay. Just realize that you're asking for trouble, you know, and don't be surprised when it comes, but you're not aware that they're reacting to a word that you're not even aware that you were using. Does that make sense?
Because lots of people use these words in place of feelings.
I think exactly. And that's what we're trying to get across. We're trying to embellish your feeling words. These lists we've given you, memorize them. I mean, they're rich. You'll be surprised the difference in results when conversation and conversing with people when you use these feeling words rather than these words that look like feelings but they're not. I mean, just whenever anyone uses misunderstood, distrusted, manipulated, diminished, intimidated, neglected, overworked, patronized, wow, you are just asking for it. Because how do you feel when someone says, well, you know what? I just feel neglected. All right? And so that's all they say to you. So what's your response? How do you deal with that?
No, you're not. Anger.
The hell I am. You know? I mean, see, the secret is translating, okay? You translate these words into true feelings and wants and project them back to the person and ask them, is that what's going on? Instead of you saying, you just neglected me. You might say, wow, I'm picking up some feelings here, perhaps that I have not always been in consideration of your feelings when I've made my decisions. Is that right?
Or I sense you're feeling lonely.
Yeah.
Or you could be feeling lonely. Or
Well, you're guessing is what you're doing. You're throwing up something out there that might catch, that makes you in communication. You're trying to paraphrase it in a way that the person is not using a judgmental word, but is using an action word with a feeling. You know? Because you can deal with feelings and wants and feelings and needs, but there's no way you can deal with someone saying, I just feel unsupported. Okay, that's dangling out there like a target, you know, just waiting to be hit. How do you translate that in terms of guessing? How you guess how they feel and you guess what they want. It may not be, but at least you're now communicating. You see, you don't, because as soon as you use the word unsupported, you've made an accusation. And you need a defense lawyer, right, Larry? I mean, you someone need to. Well, what did you really mean by
An
that,
in-house
right?
one.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So just summarize. So what is it that the other person should be doing? Validating that I feel
They
cheated,
should, I would
validating
say,
that I feel
immediately.
distrusted?
Once you said the word should,
Oh,
everything
okay,
else
well,
you said after that,
okay, well then what, see how common it is to say that.
well,
What-
it is, but
What
I'm
is
just saying.
recommended?
People
what
say to me,
is-
Joachim, you should do this, you should do that.
Well, I know it's don't should
And I
on
say,
me,
don't
but-
shit on me, right?
Yeah,
But don't shit on yourself either.
yeah.
Oh, I should study Chinese, I really should. I should.
But Father,
I
you're
should-
talking about a learned pattern from 3 years old that I now
I
have to
exactly
undo. I now have to-
agree with you.
Yeah. So when I use the word should, I don't even hear it myself.
No, you
know.
don't. But my point is, train yourself to hear it.
Oh, exactly, yeah.
And
No,
so
I know
what I call it, and I've been doing this to myself since I studied this course in the early 70s, which has changed my life with Marshall Rosenberg. I just saw today where he died 2015. He was born in 1934, so he was 5 years born before I was. And so he was, 70, how was it when he
In
died?
34 and died in 15.
He was born in 1934 and died in 2015.
15.
71, wasn't he?
Yeah.
No,
No, 81.
81?
81, yeah, right, 81, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because if he was,
So, but see, he called it the red flag technique, which means when you catch yourself saying, I should do this or I have to do that, it's having an effect on your feelings and your whole person. And it will continue to have that effect. Because if you're going throughout your day, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to go here, I have to do that, and you're going to be tired just because you've said it all these times. It's just the way it is. That's the way we work, because we were born to be free. And I want to point out this beautiful quotation from, let's see. Oh, gosh, I had it down here. From Galatians. Oh, here it is, okay. I had it marked, all right. Okay, Galatians 4, 8 to 10, all right. Okay. The proof that you are sons and daughters is the fact that God has sent forth into our hearts the Spirit of His Son, which cries out, Abba, Father. You are no longer a slave, but a son and daughter. And the fact that you are a son or daughter makes you an heir by God's design. In the past, when you did not acknowledge God, you served as slaves to gods who are not really divine. Now that you have come to know God, or rather have been known by Him, how can you return to those powerless, worthless, natural elements to which you seem willing to enslave yourselves once more? You know, it's all about slavery and freedom. It really is. And then in chapter 5, it's just the coup d'etat right there. It's chapter 5, verse 1. It was for liberty that Christ freed us. So stand firm and do not take on yourselves the yoke of slavery a second time. Okay, this is all tied in with recognizing that we are slaves to our habits of poor communication that diminish our relationships with others. In other words, they don't bring about love, they bring about other results that are not building up the reign of God. So it's all tied in with theology, okay? Is that clear? Any questions? All right. My question is, what did I do with my clipper? Oh, here it is. Okay. There you go. Oh. Kelly likes that one. Okay. Verbally expressing feelings. Our feeling is expressed in the following segments. Circle those that are feelings. Okay, if you got those in your... Have you got those?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you'd be so kind as to circle those that are feelings, that are the feelings are mentioned in that sentence, please.
Number 6.
Yeah, right. I know sometimes we want to say that now. This is on page 47. Okay, finished? Number 1, I feel you don't love me.
No.
What's wrong with it?
Well, you could say, I feel sad
Yeah.
because,
I'm not feeling loved, maybe.
yeah, there you go.
What was it?
I feel sad because I'm not feeling loved, maybe.
That's accusation again.
Okay.
Feeling love, that's not a feeling. If you said, I'm feeling loving, that's a feeling.
Well, he said he
Said
was
he's
feeling
sad.
sad, and then he gave
Yeah,
a
but
reason.
that's the first part was okay, but
Oh,
then the
then-
second part
Okay.
was
I
where.
set him up, so it's
I
not
was
his
struggling,
fault.
I was struggling with the second part. And I need, yeah, I agree with
Okay,
that.
all right. So the fact, I feel that, you put the word that in there, of course, makes it a statement, a judgment, you don't love me. Well, that's vague. What does it mean? What do you want? How do I express my love to you? Do I give you a dozen roses every hour on the hour? I mean, what is it you want, see? That's, so many people, well, you just don't love me anymore. And just leave it at that. Gosh, it's like a ton of bricks just hit you, you know? Be specific. What do you mean? What do you mean by love? What do you want? How do I express my love? Just don't lay that on me. That's not fair. All right? Somebody's supposed to guess. Oh, well, I guess you want me to send you to Hawaii, huh? No, this isn't right. Okay. I'm sad that you're leaving.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
the feeling.
No,
No?
because it says I am sad.
It's got a that
You
in it.
feel sad, but you
Well-
are not sad.
Okay. Yeah, technically speaking, you're right, but it is a feeling.
Well,
I'm
does he
sad.
make that distinction, or is this okay?
No, and that's a good, as long as the feeling is expressed. I'm sad, because the sadness is a feeling. But if you say I'm bad, that's a judgment. Sad is a feeling, bad is a judgment. It depends on the word that's after the I am.
You know, Father,
Yeah.
I had heard one time from a psychologist 35 years ago that there were 4 basic feelings and they could all be categorized in there. And I remember 3 of them. Sad, glad, mad.
Angry?
And then maybe,
Well, mad is,
Or
mad is
maybe-
angry.
yeah, maybe afraid. I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't know
I-
what the other one was.
I'm sadness, anger, happiness, and
Fear?
fear.
Oh, fear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
fear would be the other, yeah. Those are pretty 4 basic feelings, okay?
But they're categories of feelings.
Categories of
Lots
feelings.
them.
Yeah, there's-
Oh, yeah, there's a
there's
lot of
lots.
things that fit under there.
Right.
Okay, I feel scared when you say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 4, when you don't greet me, I feel neglected.
Oh,
No.
No, the word neglected. I'm happy that you can come.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. You're disgusting.
No. But they are.
How can you stop being so disgusting? See, that's the question right now. Number 7, I feel like hitting you.
No.
Why,
Okay.
why not? I
Like-
mean, you're angry.
Okay,
If you're
Marshall
angry.
says, to me it expresses what the speaker imagines doing rather than how the speaker is feeling. An expression of feeling might be, I am furious at you.
Yeah.
Okay? You see that?
Okay, so
I mean,
you might not be really thinking literally. It's disguising the,
well,
The
it's
person
talking
behind
about an action and not a feeling.
yeah, okay.
I feel like hitting you. Remember the words like and as if and so forth were used?
All right.
I feel misunderstood.
no, they did it.
I feel good about what you did for me.
It's an evaluation, isn't it?
He says, he expresses this as a feeling. However, the word good is vague when used to convey a feeling. We can usually express our feelings more clearly by using other words. For example, in this instance, relieved, gratified, encouraged.
Okay.
I'm worthless. Well, that's pretty clear, okay? But I find it really helpful in building relationships to be able to express and give feedback to people in terms of feelings and wants. Like today, I was at the endodontist and I had a root canal, you know. Oh, happy day, right?
Today you did?
Yeah, this morning.
Oh my goodness.
But it was a piece of cake, you know. I was brought up in a dental family. My dad was a dentist. My brother is a dentist. My niece is a dental
And they
hygienist.
practiced on you?
They have, believe me. But anyway, after the procedure was over, I said, Doctor, I'd like to give you some feedback. And he said, oh, well, good. I said, I just want you to know that I experienced today a real sense of compassion and caring and professionalism, and I want you to know that.
Oh,
Okay.
that's
he-
so nice.
Very nice. He said, wow. You know, and I said, I was listening to him communicating with his assistant at the chair. He was saying please and thank you, and you know, I said, I really appreciate the way you were communicating. I said, I teach communication skills, and I value the way you did it. And just a little
That's
way of
nice.
affirming, right?
You know,
Instead of-
instead of saying you did a good job,
Yeah, instead of, hey, you did a good job, Doc, all right?
Yeah, it's good discount.
It's not effective. It's much more effective when you can get descriptive and you get your feelings.
it helps the person know what to keep doing.
Well, of course.
Now, how do I keep doing good?
It's valuable. It's valuable.
That's a
Okay.
good
I've
point.
always thought specific compliments are far more effective and appreciated.
Oh yeah, right. I mean, like, you know, lots of people after mass, I liked your homily or a good homily or whatever, you know. And part of me wants to stop and write, oh, what did you like about it? What was it that you liked? What resonated with you? You know, when I get feedback, I really want to go beyond it was good in terms of how did it resonate with you? What was said that resonated? I love the word resonate because it's identifying them with something that they take responsibility for.
We're all going to have to be much more careful when we talk with you.
No.
Oh, yeah.
You have to? You have to? No.
It's like the word
I'm-
interesting.
Okay, I'm going to, I'm going to
See?
You can't even say it.
Tongue-tied.
You know,
Tongue-tied.
I mean, I don't want to be coming across as overly critical, but because I've had this training all these years and taught this course so many times, my red flag technique is really on. It's
Yeah.
sharp.
Yeah.
And I hear these words.
Okay.
I hear when other people say should and have to and all that, and most of the time I don't respond to them, but I'm most of all aware when I'm trying to use it, and I catch myself. Because I know the difference between I say, well, I have to have mass now, I have to go celebrate, you know? And if I have that inclination, or if I tell that to myself, my celebration will be in a different way than which I said, I am blessed that I am able to celebrate this Mass, and I am grateful. It comes across. It's like the whole thing, one of the airlines, we like flying and it shows. You know, it shows, you know. What's that? What is it?
Is that United?
Yeah, the friendly skies, right? Okay, well, they need to reevaluate things.
The friendly skies of United.
Yeah, right, yes. 2 broken ribs and a concussion and all right. Okay, where were we now?
Right there?
Did we get each one?
No,
here?
we just got
Yeah.
this.
Oh. Please circle the number in front of each statement whereby the speaker is acknowledging your responsibility. You irritate me when you leave company documents on the conference room floor. All right. Do you have that written down?
Yeah. On this,
Okay, then if you could circle the words that indicate someone is acknowledging responsibility for his or her feelings. Somebody is acknowledging responsibility for his or her feelings in each one of these statements. Okay, let's just do these first 5 here. Okay? So, number 1, you irritate me when you leave company documents on the conference room floor.
No, you did it.
Why?
Well,
There's no responsibility.
it's what they did. I feel irritated
Right.
because I value order.
Okay. All right. This is what Marshall said.
And when I see documents all over the floor, I feel irritated.
Okay, that's good. I like that, Diane. Marshall wrote, I'm irritated when you leave company documents on the conference room floor because I want our documents to be safely stored and accessible. Basically what you said. All right. Number 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
So the first 3 words, I feel angry,
Okay.
are, that's
That's the feeling.
a feeling and that's a responsibility,
Okay.
personal responsibility.
And there's a what else expressed?
Value.
What else is expressed in there?
Because I'm wanting respect and I
I'm
hear.
wanting. You're expressing your wants. Your feelings and your wants. Let's go together. I feel frustrated. I feel angry when you say that because I'm wanting respect and I hear your words as an insult.
But is it an insult of judgment?
It would be if you say
I'm insulted.
that I'm insulted, yeah. When you have the words, your words as an insult, you're not saying that he or she is insulting you, but you're hearing the words as an insult. There's a subtle difference.
Very subtle, yeah.
Very subtle.
But accurate, I think.
Okay. 4, I'm sad that you won't, no, I feel frustrated when you come late. It's not?
No.
Why not?
I think it should say something like, I feel frustrated when I wait for latecomers.
Okay.
I
You
almost
put
said
it all back
halfway.
on that person, because
But
that
do you
person
have,
made you
do you
frustrated.
have a reason in there for the frustration?
Yeah,
Yeah, come on.
there's
come
an
late.
expectation
No, I
to
don't
be
have
on
a
time.
value. I value timeliness.
Okay, is this a fuzzy or
Yeah.
specific?
I don't
Okay.
think so. I mean, there's an implied expectation to be on time.
Yeah, okay. But thing is, it's implied that you come late all the time. You know, there's no specific thing about,
Okay,
okay?
there you go.
So,
Fuzzy.
it says, I feel frustrated when you come late because I was hoping we'd be able to get some front row seats. Okay, that's very specific,
Okay.
you know, okay?
Okay.
All right. 4, I'm sad that you won't be coming for dinner because I was hoping we could spend the evening together.
Yeah.
Very, very good,
Yeah.
yeah, very good communication. I feel disappointed because you said you would do it and you didn't.
I put yes.
You said
You-
you would.
Yeah, but-
You didn't.
Yeah, but that's true. I am disappointed because of what you said.
Seems
And you
very
didn't do it.
vague.
Yeah, it's somewhat vague, but
Okay,
it's true.
and not the best of communications. Marshall says, when you said you'd do it and then didn't, I feel disappointed because I want to be able to rely upon your words. A little more, you know, a little more helpful, okay? Okay, let's look at the next, this will be our last page here. Wow, we've got the second coming then. Okay, let's look at those 6 through 10 now.
Discouragement. I would say that,
6 is a good one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Marshall agreed with that. Okay, very precise, all right? 7,
Vague.
Pretty vague,
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
vague.
pretty vague.
Marshall says, you might have said, sometimes when people say little things, I feel hurt because I want to be appreciated, not criticized. Well, there's a want in there, see? But I disagree with Marshall on this word hurt. He uses it as a non-accusative expression of feeling. I don't.
Yeah.
I would not include that in his list of words that's okay to express his feelings.
Yeah.
You see, it's like I feel misunderstood. I feel hurt.
Yeah.
You see, it's
And we still haven't described the little things. we said what we want appreciation, but we haven't said what little things people say that I feel hurt about.
Well, Marshall says, sometimes when people say little things, I feel hurt because I want to be appreciated, not criticized. I don't think this is a good example, Marshall. No offense, but. Number 8, I feel happy that you received that award.
Great.
Okay, he says no.
Oh,
He says, when you received that award, I felt happy because I was hoping you'd be recognized for all the work you'd put into this project.
Pretty wordy.
Yeah, I once again, Marshall, I beg to differ. Okay. Number 9, I feel scared when you raise your voice.
No,
Why not?
I don't think it's specific.
Okay. Does it have a because want in there?
because what did you say?
A because want?
Because a value or something.
A value?
Because
It's a feeling and an observation.
I fear being
But why?
afraid.
Do like this thing.
When you
Okay.
raise your
Pardon me?
voice,
Do like this thing.
In anger or it sounds angry.
I feel scared.
It sounds angry.
Marshall says, when you raise your voice, I feel scared because I'm telling myself someone might get hurt here and I need to know that we're all safe. Okay. I would pick a bone with Marshall here in terms of, I would say, and I'd like to know that we're all safe. I don't like to use need when it's really a want, you see.
Right.
So we're not on the same page.
yeah,
with
but you just implied raising your voice puts us in an unsafe situation, and that isn't always true. Kids in school would say, Mrs. Hanlon, you're yelling at me, and I'd say, you haven't heard me yell. I mean, but in their ears, I was raising my voice.
True.
Yeah.
that. Okay.
You know,
But they're taking responsibility for the feeling. I feel scared. That's not anything to do with how loud or soft your voice is.
Yeah.
They're expressing their feeling. I feel scared when you raise your voice, but that's only half communication. The rest is because I'm afraid someone might get hurt, when people's anger gets aroused.
yeah, and I was just saying that's very specific. Because just a raised voice doesn't mean danger.
Yeah.
That's all I
Yeah,
was
right.
meaning.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
all I meant.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
I'm
some-
grateful that you offered me a ride because I was needing to get home before my children.
I said that, yes.
Okay. Once again, I would wonder whether or not you need to put need in here or want, but it's kind of nitpicking in a sense, so
I want to get home.
then you could put it either way. You see, I want to reserve need as far as really a need. We all have a right to express our wants.
Is that what these are in the top left-hand corner of this one handout? Real needs,
Yeah.
interdependence, physical nurturance, play, and spiritual communion. It looks like that's only a partial list, because it says continued.
When needs are fulfilled, is that what you're talking about?
Nope.
Oh, expressing clearly?
Up at the top of
This
this
page.
one right here.
Yeah, I know, okay.
Oh,
Oh,
Okay, same thing, I just don't have the bottom here. These
well,
are
it
little
says
cards.
interdependence, physical nurturance, play, and spiritual communication. But it looks like it says interdependence continued, so I wondered if there were other
Oh, I see what you
needs.
mean. Yeah, there'll be other ones, yeah, too. This isn't, this is,
Because a lot of times I
it's
have
not
trouble
extensive.
expressing that.
Okay. All right, just take one more. I ordered these cards, and they could be used in a good, effective way. These are called feeling cards. Delighted, disgusted, encouraged, frustrated, intrigued. There's 45 of them, okay?
How much for frustrated?
I'll take intrigue for $5.
All right. So, no, the idea of what we could have done if we had not run out of time, okay, would have been, I would pick out one of these, not look at it, and show it to you, and then you would act out the feeling, and I would observe and try to guess what the feeling is.
Affectionate?
Oh.
All right.
Dangerous.
So let's just try one. I will not look at it. Okay, so now you, I don't know what it says.
Oh.
So you're pointing your finger.
Mm.
Surprise?
Well,
No, I'm trying to guess. Yeah. But Diane's the only one that's giving me a gesture there.
oh,
Oh, we can't,
Oh, we're
no
we're supposed to
words?
do gestures
No,
or
just, no words, just,
Oh,
wondering,
Close.
intrigued.
yeah.
Yes. Very good.
Okay. And then, I mean, there's another one, amazed, you know, you can, yeah. There's all kind of things. It could be a lot of fun, you know, and just in
I
terms
thought
of.
you were going to suggest that we keep those at home when you're feeling frustrated.
Yeah, right, yeah. You don't want to do the dishes?
Would it work?
Okay.
uh-oh.
I'm disgusted.
I like my idea. I'll give you $20.
Is that right? Okay.
No better
At least-
lashes than-
Okay, well,
At
this,
least you wouldn't.
as I said before, I said on this thing here, well, the bottom was, of course, the book itself.
Oh, my.
This just scratches the surface. Oh, Kelly found that great. Look at that nice iceberg. Isn't that great? The 2-day course could only cover some of the highlights of Marshall's excellent training program for responsible communicating. I suggest one both read the book, one of Vinny, and also search for his videos on YouTube by putting in Marshall Rosenberg videos. He's got some great videos using puppets. Really effective on YouTube. So it all depends on how hungry you are for more effective communication, more responsible communication, and with communication that can develop in more likely getting what you want and what others get what they want. Okay? Without manipulation. All right?
I have a question. Is there some logic to why nonviolent communication is used, the word violent?
Well, yes, because so often violence occurs as a result of poor communication.
Yes, but it also doesn't occur as a result of poor communication as well. Because when I saw that, I thought it was for maybe helping men and women through domestic violence or something.
Oh, I
Right,
see.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was my initial response.
Was
Really?
it too? Yeah, that's why I wondered if there was a,
Okay,
instead of just
well,
communicating
Instead of-
non-violently, when I miscommunicate, I don't consider myself even close to being violent, but ask him.
so how would you, if you were going to rephrase this course for a future thing, so they would not be misinterpreted,
Okay,
how would you title it?
Effective.
yeah, communicating.
Effective communication.
Effective.
Okay.
Well, I mean, what intrigued me, I think it said nonviolent and or non-judgmental, and the non-judgmental is what like brought me in.
It's softer than violent,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Right, because I've taught some courses too here on how to live without judging yourself, others, and
That's a
God.
great course.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's. I think that's online, isn't? Irene, is it how to judge others without, how to live without judging yourself, others, and God? Is that on the?
It's one of the older ones that we haven't moved over yet.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So that might be something you might consider, you know, because it is something that a lot of people are interested in. Okay.
I think this, that what you're talking about, the word nonviolence is really important. And there's somebody in one of my groups that said, you should never say nonviolence anymore, you should use the positive word of peaceful or compassionate or something like that.
Yeah. Right,
But I have changed, and I kind of agreed for a while, but I have changed my mind because nonviolence has worldwide significance.
Yeah.
And we, since maybe the 50s or 60s, and it has a lot of history behind it. And that does mean something to people. And even young people that don't know the history. And I think it's a really powerful word that has to do with working and living in a special way where you're not hurting people, not
Okay,
physically.
that's a valuable, I appreciate that, you know?
Yeah.
You know, the word, Roy says the term nonviolence did not exist before 50 years
Yeah,
ago.
I just read that
You know,
too.
so it's, you know,
Yeah.
particularly I think it's so important since the election. I didn't say that, did I? But I mean, in terms of, you know, North Korea and Syria and all this, I mean, my goodness, we're in very volatile situations, okay? Maybe thinking about what you've just given feedback, which I appreciate, is effective communication, living without violence and judgment, or something like that.
Yeah.
Could maybe tie it all together,
Yeah.
okay?
Although I will say that the nonviolent communication does help me think about the notion of think globally and act locally.
Yeah, okay.
You know, it helps me think internationally even about communication.
Exactly, yeah.
Yet it brings it right back to myself to, you know, I've got to take personal responsibility to
Yeah.
improve my communications. If I
Well, I just think that,
expectations of
wow, I'd like to have all the politicians take this
Oh,
course
really?
and learn how not to provoke nuclear nations
Mhm.
with things that can incite them because it's poor communication, you know?
Marshall went all over the world teaching
Oh,
this
I
to
know, he
people.
did. He had,
Didn't
he taught
teach
these training sessions
politicians?
all over the place. I'm not sure.
Oh, I thought he did, but.
But he did a lot of workshops with schools and churches and stuff like that to try to get them to resolve conflicts and everything. And he's really helpful in resolving conflicts. He's an expert at it. So, but who was it that was? I think Roy said one time that some communicator there was one person who was a resolution of conflict person said that the hardest group to work with are churches
Well,
in terms
interesting.
of resolving